Here we go.
You're tuning in to Will Love Listen. Now listen.
I don't have a bra on.
I mean, I could see. Why, please.
I do have a bra on. See, I have one on.
It looks like you don't. I was just texting her. Do you have a bra on? But they look way bigger than normal.
I'm in bed sick.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
It's okay. It's been like 6 days already.
Jesus, what do you have?
I think it traveled into like bronchitis. So it was like a head cold, like the kids all had it, and then just transferred over. I'm okay. We're on the upswing part now.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad. So, yeah, that's a good way to start the interview.
With Renee's bra.
With Renee's bra.
With Renee's giant boobs that don't make her look like she has a bra, but there's a bra there. I think it's the thing that I'm using to put the phone on. It's not high enough. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Well, you look great. Both of you look great. So,
Thank
Renee
you.
and Jen, thanks for joining me today because there's so much I want to talk about, especially with the new podcasts, the possible reboot, all of that. But I kind of want to take it back to the beginning because I feel like out of all the people on Mob Wives, you were like the quintessential mob wife. And even while you were on the show, you were talking about obviously you had your backstory, but while you were on the show, all that shit went down with your ex-husband in real time. So it was very surreal. And Jen, that was great casting. Who would have thought that was all going to unfold on camera?
I know. I mean, that was pure luck. Well, bad luck, but it was in real life, but good luck for the show, you know?
Yeah, it made great TV.
And I didn't want to film. Like when that happened, she wanted to shut down.
Well, not the first part, the second part. Like so when the big bust happened, it happened on the news,
Yeah.
and everybody was talking about it in the show, outside of the show. So it was too late to shut that down. But when everything, when everything happened with my father, then that's when I wanted to shut it down because Renee was having a hard time with it, but she didn't want to. She wanted to keep going.
Yeah, which I
there's why would you want to shut down the actual true essence of what a mob wife is? That's how I felt. I felt like after all of these years, this couldn't have been scripted. I don't care what anybody says. It just, if it was, let's say it was a scripted situation, it wouldn't have been me that they would have had the husband be the snitch on. You know what I mean? So you couldn't have made this up. And in all honesty, the way I look at it now, that is the only way I would have ever gotten away from my ex-husband. So it was the biggest blessing. I'm sorry, other people got caught up in it, but it was the biggest blessing for me personally.
And during that entire time, did you ever suspect anything?
I thought he was cheating because he was a cheat. There was always an extra phone. And to be honest, I had just come out of the hospital after being in the hospital from June till mid-September from plastic surgery gone wrong. So I was heavily medicated. I was on a lot of prescribed, a lot of Dilaudid. So I wasn't really as sharp as I normally am.
Yeah.
But I did feel something wasn't right. I didn't know what it was, but I knew something wasn't right. And if I would have known, I probably would be the one in jail.
Wow.
Well, I didn't suspect anything as a sister-in-law and my father's daughter because and just knowing him, everyone who knew him and thought about him as this big tough guy, this big guy that was always in control of the things in the street, and no one would have suspected that, but stranger things have happened, I guess.
Yeah, true. Wow. And between like your husband and your father, like and all that going down on camera, like how did that affect you behind the scenes, besides what we saw on camera?
Me or Jennifer?
Both.
Me? I had a nervous breakdown. I ended up in right after that. I ended up in the hospital for like 10 days. Just totally, I was devastated. This is the person that I would have never in a million years imagined it. Like there's so many other people that have snitched, and I would have been like, oh, okay. I would have never imagined this coming from him. But then again, he's weak. I should have known he was weak all along. He couldn't even keep a job.
Really?
Weak. Still not my favorite person.
Well, that was sort of my reaction. I honestly, I was just like, oh well, we just lost a cast member. But also it was like it wasn't. It was shocking that he was the one who did it, right? But it wasn't so shocking to me in the overall grand scheme of things. Like in my mind, it was like, okay, Dad, I guess you're going back to jail. This is what your world is about. This is what you signed up for. It's unfortunate, and we'll see you in a few more years. So it wasn't something for me that was like as devastating as it was to Renee, because it also wasn't my husband who did it. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, because it affected a lot of relationships I've had with people over the years. A lot of people started acting funny with me, which for me is a huge problem. I still hold a grudge with several people because I'm like the last. If anybody knows me, they know there's nothing I wouldn't do to protect my father. So for anyone to even insinuate that I had any inkling of this is the biggest insult in the entire world to me, because there's like my father's my God on earth. You know, I have my Jesus, but on earth, it's my dad for me. So it was devastating. It was just devastating. And to watch my son, I think the biggest part, and let me take myself out of it because it's being selfish, to watch my son have to lose everything was something a mother never wants to feel for their child, you know, that hurt and pain. And to this day, it still affects us.
Wow. When you mentioned that a lot of people kind of started looking at you sideways and there was like sort of a lack of trust, it seems like, did it have to deal with your cast members as well?
I could care less about them, to be honest. They
Yeah.
didn't really hold weight aside from my relationship with, so let me just say this. Karen and Ramona were my allies. They were really like my rocks on the show. Big Ange, she later on we saw what happened with her and I. So she wasn't as important to me as like Karen and Ramona. Which Karen and Ramona never flipped on me. They always knew 100%. It was people outside of television, because TV is TV. Like what you really think of me, although it bothered me, it's just look where it was coming from. It was coming from Drita. Like, do I really care? Yeah. You know what I mean? Right.
She didn't really say much though, did she? I don't remember. What do you mean?
No, I don't think anybody really said all that much. But it's not, they didn't have to say anything. First of all, they loved my downfall. Let me just say that. And that's a fact, and no one ever has to tell me any different, because you got to also remember my storyline. I wake up with storyline. I don't have to make up storyline. And I'm tooting my horn, but I'm not saying I'm the only one on that show. What I'm saying is you're watching the star, one of the main ones, fall out of her position, who always, my father, I'm this, I'm that. You're watching me lose that. So yeah, I think there were certain people on that show that actually enjoyed it. Absolutely. My opinion.
I think honestly you're looking at that wrong, because you never lost your position with your father. You lost a fucking husband, and a douchebag one to begin with. But you didn't lose your position on the show either, because you then also had and continue to have the most story. So you actually won in the grand scheme of things if you look at it from the proper lens and not such a personal.
No, I know that I won. I'm just saying at that particular time when everything was happening.
Right, you're saying they were like basking in your pain more so than, because no matter what
they didn't have to say.
Right, but no matter
Right.
what they thought or said, you didn't lose your position, and you didn't lose your position in the street or on the show. So I think
And I still haven't.
right. So I'm trying to tell you, start looking at it from a positive perspective as opposed to,
Oh, shut up, Jennifer.
who gives a fuck what they think, or anyone for that
I,
matter.
I don't. I don't. I'm just saying, going back at that time, that's one of the things that was going on inside of me. There was a million different things. Who do you trust? Can't trust them. I know they're happy. It was a million and one different things happening to me. And I felt the only two people that I could trust on that show was Karen and Ramona.
Wow. No, I understand it because I feel like from Jen's perspective, you're saying like what reality is. Like it actually,
Right.
it didn't really affect your position on the show and you still came out on top. But I feel like Renee, you're coming from that's how you felt internally at the time.
Right. Personal. It's just coming from the personal, not looking at it from the business aspect of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Right, because it's never been business for me. It's always been personal. And that's my problem with the way that I work. It's personal to me. You know what I mean? If I was the type of person who could just, when the cameras shut down and we close the door and the lights go off, it was like, okay, party time. It wasn't like that for me. There was self-medicating involved. I was watching my father go back to jail after 11 years. I was watching this man that I loved, but the sickest part of that is it was so much trauma from him. It wasn't ever real love. That was more like, I think I was mentally beaten into that relationship. Looking back at it now, I stayed for all the wrong reasons. There was not enough self-esteem. There was not enough self-worth. And a lot of that has to do with the way I was treated from him. So, I think looking back and being in the position that I am now, I don't think I loved him the way I thought I did. And I wish I could have loved myself much more.
So is that really what triggered you to sort of like have the addiction problems that you did, or at least have them worsen when all that went down?
The addiction was always there, but that's when it worsened. That was in what year? 11. Well, no, my addiction was really like 2007 to 10 is when pills were involved for me. And that personally was a really bad part of my addiction. I think when he did what he did, I started to sober up for the simple reason that I knew what was coming at me now, and I got nervous in real life. But my addiction is on, it's off, it's up, it's down. And one thing about it is I never quit. I could get 3 months, 5 months, 9 months, fall on my face and get back up. And that's what I'm mostly proud of for myself, is that I've never quit, even when I've wanted to.
Yeah.
Even when I've really wanted to just, surrender. And I didn't want to surrender and not use. I wanted to surrender to life. I think for me now, I'm looking back at stuff. It's like there was some. I could have tried harder. But I'm such an emotionally based human that my feelings overtake my intelligence. You know what I mean? So I did what I knew how to do, and that was dummy down my feelings. And in the same breath, I dummied down my emotional intelligence at the same time.
Wow, that's a lot. But I mean, and I followed your story and
Thank you.
damn, it's been crazy.
Sure has, but you know what makes for a great book?
Yeah, it does, exactly.
A great reality show and a great book. So, I mean, there's a reason God gave me the cards he did. And, maybe they were to entertain others. And through that, I find some sort of peace when I get to help somebody else.
Now, growing up, I really want to hear from both of you how the mob life world was growing up, because I feel like I mentioned earlier, you have people on the show that maybe give off mob vibes, but they didn't actually grow up in the lifestyle. So that's really what I want to hear about, like your life growing up and being involved in that world. So as much as you could say, like, tell us, because I want to know how your life growing up was and how eventually it led to the creation of the show.
Okay.
Okay.
So I think that number one, is there some, the show is called Mob Wives, right? Yes. But there was more of a theory of being married to a lifestyle per se, not necessarily a man or, so to me, the people that had the most experience, if you will, would be the children because it's every single day from birth.
Yeah.
You marry a guy, you pick him at 25 years old, and then it's, your first 25 years of your life are your most important that when you start to really form opinions and emotions about certain things, right? So no one could take that type of credibility and authenticity away from the kids of, right? So to your point, yeah, Renee, Karen, Ramona, Ange, all of, were the ones that call everyone. Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of, aside from being wives, a lot of them were daughters. So there was a lot of authenticity and credibility in terms of internalizing the lifestyle, learning the rules, learning not to go against the rules, learning what the consequences are of going against the rules. So you're kind of almost programmed like a robot from birth, right? So I think for me, Karen, and even Ramona, we were very much different and internalized things differently than Renee did. Renee grew up loving the entire lifestyle, where I had a love-hate with it.
Why is
But
that?
I always felt that it was too stifling, right? Too many rules. The women had to act a certain way, look a certain way. You can't ask questions where your husband's going. You can't know this, you can't know that. And that's not for me. Like, it's not even that I want to know. I just don't want you to tell me that I can't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to more for myself than just being a housewife or being married to a man and subservient to a man and his needs. And so for me, it was like, okay, this is not a lifestyle I'm willing to live. So I just wanted to have more for myself. So I set my sights on, getting off of Staten Island, going to college, making a living for myself, finding a man not in the lifestyle or one that's going to be equally, that understands that women are not below them and they're equal to them. And that's what I felt from the lifestyle mostly growing up. I mean, obviously there were the great things, the parties, the gifts, the boats, the houses, the horses, the cars, all of that. But is that enough at the expense of your autonomy? And that's how I looked at
It was enough for me. I'd go back tomorrow.
it.
I'm sorry. I have no problem, being a wife and a mother. I thought that me personally, that's the best and greatest job that a woman can have. But I also looked
Wanted
at
to
it,
be
that's
that
like your
and
job.
other things.
Well, yeah, well, Jennifer wanted to have a job. To me, that was my job. Like, being a wife and a mother was my job. I didn't need a career. My was to be a mother. And I grew up in the heyday of the mob. So for me, different than Jennifer, I don't think Jennifer really, well, I was 17, so she was much younger. So see that, Jen? Then so I grew up really like the limousines driving me to school and
But I was in
these
that same
dinners.
limousine. I was in the same limousine. I was in the same school. We were both doing the same. The only difference really was at the club age. She started in the clubs earlier when the big top guys were going to those clubs too. Me, Karen, and Ramona and Ramona's sister, we went to the city clubs. We bypassed that. We didn't even, we went when we had parties. I mean, I had my high school graduation party at that club, Pastels, and we were a part of it, but we didn't choose to be. We chose a different world. So not that we weren't as involved or acclimated as Renee's was, we just didn't care. We wanted everything, our own world. We had different goals in life, I guess, but and not in a bad way, just and I don't even mean overall family and woman goals. We had fun goals that we wanted to accomplish that we weren't allowed to accomplish in those places. And that is really what I'm trying to say. We had minds of our own and we weren't stopping for nobody. But go ahead, sorry, I cut you off. Heyday, you were at Heyday.
Oh, I'm sorry. I grew up when the mob was probably from what I know, the most active in the street. The men were out and about. It was like when the suits, the ties. I just loved that whole because I also, women will hate me, but it's okay. I always felt like a man was superior to a woman. And I always felt that a man is the one who makes the money, who does all that. So I didn't look at
Because
it.
you grew up
My
in the
mother had
heyday of the mob and you were
right.
programmed that
I
way.
did. And again, I would go back to it tomorrow if it was the mob that I grew up in. I would go back to it tomorrow because I never wanted for anything. I didn't worry about my life. Aside, I wouldn't be married to my weak ex-husband. I would. But I had a great life. I had a great life. I had a great life. Even though, yeah, I did spend weekends going to visit my father in prison. I still had a great life. I never worried about my safety. I was always taken care of. I never worried about money. I never worried about anything.
And,
Anything at
and
all.
but I want to make a comparison here, okay? And I'm sorry, but I never worried about anything. I had the same safety, the same father, the same great life, the same money, the same fashion, everything, but it wasn't enough because it came externally. I wanted it to come internally. I wanted to make my own money, make my own life, make my own happiness, make my own thing, but still be a part of that. Why wouldn't I want to be around that? That's my
Right.
family. I love my father. I love my mother. I love my family and the life. But why can't I have that and my own? That's how I was looking at it. So I'm not negating what
Okay.
Ray's saying. I'm not saying, sorry, my dog's barking. No, no, Lee, that's my other dog.
No, we're just two different people. We dated different people. It's just different. Different, same household, different goals, same household, different beliefs. Same household, different schooling. I had no intentions on taking it past high school. I planned on getting married by the time I was 20. That was just what I wanted for myself. And that's what it was. But again, that life no longer exists for me, and the people, as far as I'm concerned, no longer exist on the level that they did back then. There are a few gentlemen. Like I'm not saying that it's extinct. I'm saying the real tough guy, the real good guy in the street exists. It doesn't exist.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying.
they do, but very few between, yeah.
Few.
And they're a lot older now.
Few.
They're still
Yes,
around from
few.
that from those days.
Exactly. That's why I was saying back then those men were
There's a few.
those were the guys.
So where is the mob
Different.
today?
What mob?
Don't be trying to steal my line.
I just good.
The most famous line in Mob Wives. What mob?
Yeah.
Well, how about this? Is the mob near extinct today?
That's not, honestly,
I
that's
wouldn't
not for us to really talk about.
Yeah, I wouldn't speak on that. My father passed. I'm good.
No, and that's the thing. We only talk about our own experiences within it, right? And that's
Yeah.
our too. But and the same thing with Mob Wives. We never really spoke about anything that was outside of our own control and own circle and own family life or whatever. And that's why, I was okay with actually even doing the show. So I'm never here to go and be like, oh, this one did that one said this exists, this doesn't. I can only tell you what I experienced in my own life growing up.
Yeah, exactly. You're not exposing the mob, you're exposing your own story.
Yeah, exactly. It's not my fault I was born into that, but
But it's so interesting how you both have you both went through the same thing growing up and the same lifestyle, but yet you have completely different takes on it. So I find that to be really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, and we have a third sister too, who's kind of like right smack in the middle of both of us.
Oh, okay.
And she's older than us, but her beliefs and her mindset leans more towards Renee, I think, but is also
She's the white guy.
yeah, but that's different. Yes, not anymore. Back in the day, maybe. But she also had that instead of, okay, so what I'm trying to say is instead of leaving the family to make her own life, she stayed with the family and made her own life within it. So she went to work side by side with her husband. She built a business side by side with her husband. And she sometimes thought she was her husband, but she kind of, like I said, she goes between the both of us. She's got that same, I love it mentality, but that same sort of, I want to make this money just in case mentality.
Okay, I get that.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly. Like she wants her own
Yeah,
security.
I want to make that money so I could spend it.
Yeah.
That was it. Make that money so I could spend it.
Yes. And listen, for as long as my father was alive, she could have done that. He would have taken care of every single one of us till his last breath.
Oh.
But when as you get older, you realize that last breath is going to come someday. So it's like prepare yourself for it in a way.
Now, how did the whole creation of the show and it like come about? How did you initiate it?
Okay, so I was just going back to a kid. I always wrote things, whether it was poems or stories or this and that, Renee too. And we always I always knew, and it's a weird thing, but I always knew somehow, some way, someday that I would be in TV. But I never, ever pursued that like in school or anything like that, or even really career-wise. I went to NYU, I started pre-med, I ended up in music. I never, took any writing classes, acting classes, producing classes, but it was always in me to love it, right? So then when I started to write a scripted story about sort of what I was just telling you, my experiences and my mindset on where I was within the mob world inside the family and how I felt and all of that. And the Real Housewives were blowing up at the time. And reality TV had been around, obviously, with that MTV show from God knows how long ago. But I think the Housewives really brought that docu-follow
Yeah.
woman perspective to life, and it was groundbreaking. And then to me, I was like, okay, well, I can do a mix of what I'm writing here with a mix of Housewives and create something with the people that I've known my entire life, all of my friends, and bring that to life, which would be an easier way into television because, reality shows are a lot faster. They're a lot quicker. You don't have to have schooling or experience, really. You just have to have a really great idea and a really great cast and some connections. So I had all three. And when I was in music, my first boss in music was at the Weinstein Company, doing film finance and acquisition. So that was my connection. I shopped it around first to a couple of networks. I got an offer immediately from A&E, and then they told me I needed to get a production company on board. And I was like, no, I don't. I could do this all by myself. Not knowing, because I never went to school and didn't know that I needed a production company. I thought I was going to do it. So I started looking for production companies, and I went to my old boss, and he brought me into the Weinstein Company and signed a deal with them. And then we went back to all the networks together with Harvey, and we went from one offer to five. And bidding war and all that. And my deal with Harvey was based on that show and the scripted show that I was writing originally and two other shows. And then I was there for a while and, developed a bunch of things there. Sold the script to HBO, was writing some stuff for them internally. We developed everywhere pretty much. And, then they imploded. So that's the dream. Yeah.
That's so interesting. And you had like such a big bidding war. So I guess so VH1, Viacom ended up winning it.
Yeah, so when we first went to them, they loved it, right? But they wanted me to do a presentation tape.
Yeah.
At that point, I had also already had an offer from A&E, and they wanted me to get the production. So when I was mulling all of that over, like I said, I ended up meeting with Harvey and the Weinstein Company, and then they came on board. As soon as we went back to VH1 with Harvey, it went from presentation tape to straight to series. Like they were like, we love it. He was like, I'm going to put my everything behind this. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And obviously with his experience, they were enchanted. not only with the show, but probably with working with him too, and knowing that it could be a huge hit because he's going to put all his muscle and money behind it as well. And we went straight to series.
That's amazing. That's amazing because everyone loved that show. And what I want to also point out is it was never really canceled, right? It's just when Weinstein went down, it was kind of his projects like Mob Wives were collateral damage, right?
No, no, not actually. So it was after season 6 and Big Ange passed. Um, there was it was canceled. I can't say it wasn't canceled, but it wasn't because of the show. It was because of the show itself got too expensive for the network. Between Harvey having to have his shows be union, which
Yeah.
I don't know why, but anything he did had to be union, I guess because he was a movie and scripted producer as well. There were union costs, the price of inflation went up, the cast fees went up, everything was going up, and it got to a point where it's like, okay, have we run our course? And can we sustain the cost of this any longer? So yeah, it was canceled. I got to say that, but not. I wouldn't call it canceled. I think it was just over. It was just over.
I think we just agreed to end it.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. It was time. Go ahead.
I we could have gone. I think we could have gone another season. Absolutely, absolutely.
Also,
But I think there was had happened by 6 that everybody was also very mentally exhausted, and losing Angela was a really big part, not just of the show, but of our lives, our personal lives. I think everybody was very drained at that point, and it was just in my opinion, obviously I'm not in, but I think it was more in a be like, okay, we did it, we're done.
right. I think a combination, because remember, we had the Weinstein Company. We had another huge company left us on board as producers and partners. We had a production company left right on board as producers, and there was me. So there was 4. It was top heavy. It was top heavy, plus the union, plus the cast fees kept going up, plus inflation, plus it ran its course, plus we lost Angela, plus no one in the cast was even getting along or talking. So it was a matter of taking all of those factors, weighing them together, and being like, okay, have we exhausted all story? Can these women sit in a room together without killing each other? It was a lot. It was a business decision that made sense across the board. And at first, it was supposed to be just a little bit of a break, right? I think what they were really thinking is, let's take a break, 2 years off. Let's see if we can come back later on. And time went by, and and here we are.
Right.
But the thing,
COVID happened, and
COVID,
the next
right. The Weinstein Company imploded after that. And I had at the time a bunch of projects in development
oh wow.
on network. They all just got poof, goodbye. And then I had some projects that I lost in that kind of his buyout. They're just sitting there. I have no idea what happened to them. So yeah, I mean, it wasn't ideal, but it happened, and we'll figure it out.
Now all things Mob Wives aesthetic is like coming back. There's like this whole big nostalgia thing going on. Just all across the board, I feel in the entertainment industry, because you have bands that haven't toured in forever, they're touring. You have like fashion from back in the day coming in. I mean, like, look at Monsters, the movie on Netflix, and all those like 90 songs that are now being replayed. So there's like this itch for like nostalgia and like what once was, and part of that includes all things like mob life. So do you think there's a possibility for the series to be rebooted now?
Well, I think so. I have a couple of things in that space, in the mob space that I'm working on that are sort of like offshoots of that. With everything that's happening at Paramount right now and their big buyout, there's so much of influx that right now I don't think they're going to be greenlighting anything in this space. I think next year, it's very possible with the new owners that the Mob Wives proper show will come back. So in the meantime, I'm going to continue to do what I do and create shows that make sense in the space, but it doesn't have to be Mob Wives. It could be something totally different, but just as intriguing.
I see. So are you working on anything like that currently?
I am a few things actually.
Oh,
So,
really? Okay. Any network pitching?
um, well, one, two are already at network and development. Pitching's already been done and we've been developing it. So it's just a matter of time, you know. Can't really say much. We'll see what happens soon.
Will Renee be a part of any of these productions?
Um,
How are you gonna mob without me?
Renee is actually part of 3 productions I'm working on right now,
Oh,
actually.
really? Okay.
I mean, how are you gonna mob without the mob?
Yeah,
How am I
exactly.
gonna do a
Yeah.
project without Renee and her not killing me and haunting me for the rest of my life is really the question.
Ever you say it, once you get in, you can't get out, and you were
Yeah.
born in and get out. No, I know 2025 is going to be a great year. I think 2024 just was a year of putting everything into the proper perspective. Preparing for greater opportunities. But I mean, if you're in the mob space and you have someone like me, you'd be kind of silly not to involve a person who is very much about that world, that lived it, stood by it, and
She's a
that's my opinion.
she's a proven talent in the space for sure. So what she's saying is not wrong. For me, I weigh that against how much time do I have to spend with her on a daily basis versus the credibility of the show. That's a sister thing. That's a sister.
You caught us on a sister day.
Yeah.
Okay. A good day.
No, she pissed me off earlier very badly.
Why? It seems like there's a little bit of tension today.
Yeah, what it is. She just, it is what it is.
No,
At the end of the day, big opportunities are coming, and I have all my faith is in God and in the fact that I personally don't think I think I'm far from finished. I think my life story is worth telling and worth in my opinion, because I know I watch movies and I see it, and
Yeah, exactly. You live what they portray in the movies.
right, like to know you are that close to the fire and have been through it, and it's not just mob life, addiction, depression, all the things that I've gone through and am still going through. I think it's more of an inspirational story for a woman at the end of the day. I don't think it's just mob related. It's like you can do anything, you can get past anything. All right, I might cry, whine, and complain, but it doesn't mean I'm not trying behind the scenes. You know what I mean? And yes, I would love to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. I am a mother already. Wife, and I'd love to be taken care of for the rest of my life the way my mother is, but that's not today's world. So why not tell the story behind it?
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of Renee crying, that's why and overcoming all of these adversities, that's why we launched the Crysis Queen podcast because and
I
it's a
love
play on words, crisis, because she cries this a lot. But it's also about helping explain not only Renee's crisis, but helping others through theirs. So, and all the things that she's been through, she thought it was important that she share it with other people so that other people can share it with her. And she'll tell you
Right,
more about it, but that's sort of the jumping off.
right. But I mean, for me, I look at it like, and this is my experience. The most healing that I have received is from healing with another person, is sharing my story. And we sit there, and it might be like a big trauma fest, but it really isn't, because after you get through with that conversation, you either start saying, wow, my stuff isn't so bad, or I hope you can see a light go up in some people that you made that difference. And that right there is the biggest reward in the world. And I know I've walked away being like, oh shit, things A lot worse.
Yeah, true.
No, a
Yeah.
lot worse could have happened to me if
They
possible.
laugh.
But
They
it,
laugh
it
too. You know, it's not
yeah,
just
well, you
what?
have to laugh. I mean, I look back at my life and I laugh at as warped as it is. I laugh at a lot of things and I make jokes about a lot of things in my life because I don't know how the hell I'm here. There's only one explanation, and it's God. Otherwise, if it wasn't for him, there is absolutely nothing that makes sense why I am still here after what I've been through. So for me, it's kind of like you gotta, sometimes God has a really bad sense of humor.
I
No.
agree with you there because there are some things in my personal life, like, yeah, I agree with you there.
You know what? But
There's a reason for everything, and it will reveal itself eventually.
well, yeah, I believe so. I just mean anything else revealed about me, I'm good.
I was talking to him, but yes, please. Yeah. So I mean, listen, I don't know. You sense tension. Sorry about that. It might be me. But
Hey, it makes the interview good. It makes the interview
I
good.
don't know. It's fine. But listen, this is what? I can't hear and
It's
also I can't even hear what she's saying. Your connection is terrible. What'd you say?
connection to you.
I didn't hear the first part. Connection to me?
I said, forget it.
Tension.
Tension with you, yeah.
Okay. No, I know. I feel it in my neck. Um, anyway, yeah, but it's been a journey for sure, and the podcasts for me are kind of like the next extension of that. You know, we've done TV, we've done books, I've done music. Renee's done a movie. So what's next? In
Yeah.
entertainment, right? Podcast, so the next hottest things, and it's just an extension of my brand that I wanted to do, and obviously Renee in that sort of wellness and trauma and crisis space makes a ton of sense. And then the one I'm doing with my two friends, Antonia and Rob, is called Straightened Out Podcast. And we're going behind the scenes of Mob Wives to straighten out the bullshit, the drama, the truths of everything that happened behind the scenes and on that people didn't get a chance to see, as well as all the burning questions that all the fans have had and want to know about. And to your point, one of the reasons why we're doing this now,
Yeah.
it's not only because podcasts are so big, but because of that mob wife trend and the fashion and the aesthetic, and it brought back all the nostalgic mob interest. So for me, it's like, okay, timing, right? Let's talk about it. Let's garner that interest and turn it into something bigger, but also in anticipation of all the other shows that I'm building to come. So it's sort of a precursor and setting the stage for the next wave of my entertainment career.
I like it. And I like how the podcasts are two totally different concepts, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we have Renee on ours every now and then to bring us that fire, that mob wives fire. Yeah, I'm dealing with some drama behind the scenes now because of it,
Why?
but somebody, it's a long story. I don't even want to say it because it'll only incite it even more. Uh, what?
What happened?
It's got nothing to do with any of the co-hosts, that's for sure. But people, old wounds, and people come back crawling out of the old wounds, I guess. But long story short, it's fun and it reminds me of being the producer of Mob Wives again because it does even on the podcast it gets dramaful and now behind the scenes it's dramaful again. I don't know why I thought I needed this back in my life, but I guess it comes with the territory.
So speaking of the podcast, by the way, I love the episode with Danielle Staub. I know I was mentioning it to you earlier before we started recording. I thought it was really good how you kind of got her to like open up. I think she felt comfortable to say a lot of things that she wouldn't necessarily say in other interviews. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, and I also think that goes hand in hand with who we are, right? When you're talking to one of us, you kind of know your secret's safe with us, or we've been through it all, we've seen it all, nothing's going to shock us, we have your back type of thing. I think that's what made her comfortable. Also, she knows sort of drama that goes along with reality shows. So she was able to talk about that too. I've seen it all from the producer's perspective, from the sister and friend perspective. So nothing she was going to tell me was like shocking in that world, right? I wanted her actually to go on to Renee's podcast after some of the things she talked about.
Oh yeah, I thought that would be great.
Because, I feel like she's got some heaviness that she wants to get off her chest. And I think the Crysis Queen for her would be a great place. So I'm going to talk to her about that. But she was fun. She's hilarious. She reminds me a lot about Renee, that air of grandiosity that she has, and the way that she just feels like, oh, there was no cast without me, type of
I know
thing.
what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
It's not a bad thing, Renee. It's
A
not a
little
bad.
bit Sonia Morgan too, because she kind of lives in the past still a little bit. Um,
So I'm friends with, and Danielle and I have connected. You know what I think it is? I think it's the reason, it's the person that has the trauma. There's a lot of trauma around the names that we're mentioning. A
yeah,
lot of things that to those
You
women.
got a
So
horrible, like horrible on that show.
I think that's why a lot of them, I relate to so many of the women. I'm friendly with so many of the women. And I'm always like, always down to listen if you got a problem, and if I'm pretty sure I mostly can solve their problems. Mine, no, theirs, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, but she got a raw deal on that show. Like I didn't know, I was so busy in the throes of doing my own. I didn't really sit down and pay so much attention to, the ones around me. And when I really started doing the research for her episode and brought myself back to that, my God, she might as well have been on Mob Wives, the way that she was treated and the way, there was a lot of drama, and a lot of bullying and ganging up on her too. So not saying that that's what the mob wives do, but you know.
No, there was also, I think there was a lot of back and forth. I think everybody's responsible for their shit on that show in the beginning. Like I definitely do. I watched it back then. Um, so I definitely think Danielle held her weight, but I think there was a time where they became very much bullying. But there was things happening outside of that show that we weren't aware of that rolled over to on camera that they couldn't
Right.
make sense.
And that's what my podcast is about, sort of explaining, why this scene was so volatile. Well, you didn't know what happened 10 minutes before that, and why, such and such walked in someone's house so hot, So it's like kind of giving the nuances behind the scenes to give context to what happened, on camera. So a lot of people don't really want to bring that truth to the light, but it is what it is at this point. The fans want to know.
yeah. How has your experience been doing these two podcasts, and what are like some upcoming episodes that you want to sort of tease for us?
My experience on the podcast, I hate being on camera. It's not the most comfortable place for me to be, but once I'm like in conversation with my friend, like, and that's the reason why I did it, because I'm sitting there with Rob and Antonia. I'm friendly with them. Antonia and I go out to dinner. We were friends first. So it's like just having a conversation that we would have any given Sunday. So once I put that in my head and we're just going back and forth, I kind of loosen up and I get in the throes of it all. But from behind the scenes and producing Renee's, it's it's heavy, hers a little bit, because I don't like to put myself in, and thank God for me, I didn't have a lot of trauma, and maybe I did, and I just and that's how I like to deal with things. So I don't want to, when I'm producing Renee's, I don't always listen so deeply. So I don't have to get in it. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit, that's hard a little bit, but now in terms of the episodes, I mean, we just sh shot with Natalie, who was Natalie Garcia, who was on my cast.
Oh, that's going to be interesting because Renee and her, those seasons were epic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they were. We got a few more Mob Wives coming up. We got some great influencers coming up, and then Rob, Antonia, and myself are doing some solos. So we really also want to kind of build ourselves as a unit outside of having guests too. So, we can talk about our own stuff and what we think about the show and the series outside of always having to, cater to a guest and having their conversations, heard and met. We got Cosmo, Queen of Melrose coming up as well. I don't know if you know him. He's amazing. He's blowing up now. We got some Italian influencers, some food influencers that we really like. And we got a nice list coming up. I can't reveal them all, but that's a good enough taste for you now. And Renee has her upcoming guest as well.
Yeah, Renee, could you give some more tea?
Well, the interview that comes out tomorrow, and there's a two-part. Her name is Chanel Capra. She is the granddaughter of a big wise guy that our fathers were friends. So it's a great interview. It's not the super Hollywood, although she's a writer, she's done movies, she's done all that. It's really about the personal, the life, growing up in it. So it gives you a little bit more of a look into the trauma part of the mob. I have also Cosmos on mine. Drea Kelly will be on mine. Oh wow. You know what? The list goes ahead. I already have filmed like 12 of them.
Oh, wow.
I'm already up to like 12. So there's there's celebrities, and then there's people who deserve to be heard more than the celebrity at
Right.
times.
And that's what I was gonna
Like
say.
that. It's a balance. I like that concept.
To me,
Definitely.
the most important thing for Renee's podcast is to get the everyday person, right? Because but also show these celebrities that everyone idolizes and look up to and aspire to be, they have problems too. So to humanize them in a way, but also then get the everyday man or woman interested enough to tell their story, because there are so many more of them that can relate to this and so many more of them that can be healed from this. Yes, celebrities too, but they're a niche community within a tremendous world. So how many people can we get to touch the minds and hearts and souls of those everyday people that go through just as much trauma as everyone else?
Wow, I'm excited. I'm excited for these podcasts. And I do feel there's another Mob Wife 2.0 show in
Right.
the future. So if both of you had to name anyone from the past seasons that you would bring back along with you, who would it be?
Big Ange. If I
Karen,
could.
Karen for me.
Karen. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, ideally, obviously, Big Ange, that's not going to happen, but that would be, and Renee, of course, because we just talked about this. She is Mob Wives personified. Um, it depends. It
If
all depends.
on a reboot of sorts, in addition to Renee, of course, any of the others would fit in.
The old ones, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, some of them have already said they would never do it, right? Which I don't necessarily believe, but whatever. They can say what they want. Would they fit in? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, who's talking to who? I think everyone's sort of on good terms.
Everybody talks to each other except for Drita.
Hmm.
I will never understand till this day as a viewer why she got so pissed at everyone for talking to Carla again when she never said on camera why she herself dropped Carla. Because I think Drita is great for the show. The only thing that turned me off was how Carla went so hard for her the first few seasons, and then when Carla needed an ally, Drita kind of became Switzerland, kind of like Dolores on New Jersey Housewives. So it's kind of like, dude, it's like if someone's like that for you, you should be like that for them.
Absolutely, and that's how Renee feels. That's for sure.
I
Um,
Switzerland should exist.
Again, behind the scenes stuff
Yeah.
that,
Oh, I agree.
well, that's what the subject matter of what's today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we dropped another one today, and that's the subject matter between Renee and Karen talking about Switzerland should not exist for sure. So that's definitely relevant to that. But to your question, a lot happened behind the scenes between Drita and Carla, which Karen alludes to on today's podcast as well, We didn't get into it yet, but so there were things that happened that no one knew about, which is why you have that unanswered question and that big gap in like, what the fuck happened? I thought Drita was her friend.
It seemed like some big mystery.
Um, yeah, well, maybe you should interview Drita and ask her. She's not going to tell you, but maybe you can try. Carla might. Carla might. You
Wow.
know, yeah. But listen, there were a lot of things again that happened behind the scenes that trickled onto camera that A, either incited things that were so out of control that no one could understand, or B, led to something, your biggest question. And I'm glad you brought it up because
Or
that was
people
everybody's question.
go
What?
to the show and you really got to see exactly who the fuck they are.
Are you catching that? Because I don't hear everything she's saying because of a connection.
In the beginning, it cuts off, but I heard most of it. That
By the end of the show, people's masks were falling off and you got to see exactly who they were, and they were fake.
Well, to your point, there was that big gap, and we tried as producers to get the answers on camera, and some people refused. They didn't want to tell what happened. So
do
we
you
were,
believe Love Majewski when she came on for that cameo in the final season and said that her and Drita were hanging out off camera, and Drita said basically, "Hey, if you know that she would walk away when that brawl happens." Do you believe her, or do you think that she was putting it on?
so wait, so you're saying that when Love said, Drita said, "I'll walk away."
Yes.
Do I believe that Drita really said that? I don't know, Renee. Do you believe that Drita really said that?
I don't know what we're talking about.
The fight with Carla and Love, right? When
Yeah, when Love dropped that big bomb that last season.
The last season she was on, you mean?
right, because you confused me with that too, because I thought you meant
You know, I
back at the end, and I'm going, she did.
On season 6 at your the Mermaid Parade when Love had said,
6. That's season 3.
Yeah.
no, but season 6 she returned for that one episode, and she told Carla that she apologized, and the only reason she came so hard at Carla was because Drita was in her ear.
Oh, really? I
I don't
didn't.
even remember that myself. How about that? What happened? I gotta look back. What episode was that?
I think that was the first or second episode of that season. That's when Love was like that Drita told her that she'd walk away when Love and Carla have that big fight.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even know she came back.
You
I don't
forgot
even
already.
I produced it and I don't even remember her coming back. That's terrible. Um, well, watch the Natalie episode.
Okay.
Okay, and you'll get your answer to that in a way. In a way.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like, you know, as a producer, I'm not here to really throw anybody under the bus. I'm gonna, I want to give the viewer as much context to the unanswered questions as they possibly can. So I'm allowing the guests to come on to tell their side of the story and let the truth reveal itself that way. I'm not really uh hoping or to weigh in any which way because I believe that the truth comes out regardless. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have to, I will, but in this instance, I think it's coming, it's gonna come out.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for these podcast series. I'm excited for like the future projects because I know something's brewing.
Yeah.
And I do think, Renee, you should do another book.
I'm actually already working on it.
Oh, okay, good, good. Because I mean, you could do a fucking series of books, to be honest.
One at a time.
For sure. But yeah, I mean, it's all good. It's all fun. Everything, like, I feel like she said, 2025 is going to be a rebirth. Maybe not a reboot, but definitely a rebirth.
Yeah.
And maybe a reboot. Who knows? We'll talk to Skydance when they take over Paramount.
Yay, I'm pumped. Thank you so much for joining me today. I feel like I could talk to you girls forever. Um,
We could do it again. We could
yeah, we should
do it
definitely do it again.
again.
Keep me updated on any future projects. And is there anything else we didn't cover?
I think we nailed it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's it, for sure. We'll definitely keep you updated.
Yeah, keep me updated and on any events as well. I would love to cover that and hope to talk to you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.